Hey guys, I'm Scott with Trailpower, and like a lot of you, I've been doing a ton of research on backup power solutions. I've been trying to find a portable power station that meets all of our requirements. With the chaotic state of the world and increasingly frequent natural disasters, it just makes sense to do what you can to be prepared. And after months of searching, I think we finally found what we were looking for. We just took delivery of the new Anker Powerhouse 767. It's new to the market, so I thought I'd give you my first impressions and then explain why we chose it over some of the more popular models from Ecoflow and Bluetti. And just to be clear, we purchased the Anker with our own money. Nobody paid us to make this video. Now the Powerhouse 767 has 2,400 watt hours of output power and a 2 kilowatt lithium iron phosphate battery capable of 3,000 charge cycles, or nearly 10 years of daily use. Now it's definitely not a lightweight at 67 pounds, but it is compact and it's easy to move about with its large wheels and extendable luggage handle. Now on the front panel, you'll find a large color display, 4 120 watt AC outlets, a 30 amp RV outlet, 2 12 volt power ports, 3 traditional USB-A ports, and a pair of 100 watt USB-C ports. The Anker app can be used on your smartphone over Bluetooth to monitor the battery level, its charging status, its consumption by attached devices, and it can even be used to configure the power station and turn the lights on and off. Now the 767 has what's called a bidirectional inverter, and this just means that it doesn't need an external charging brick, and it can fully charge from an AC outlet in about an hour and a half. And with up to 1,000 watts of solar, you can recharge the power station from the sun in as little as 2 hours. Now it also operates as a UPS, or uninterruptible power supply, and this means your attached devices can run off the grid 24/7 without even touching the batteries. And if there's an outage, it will switch over to battery power in 20 milliseconds, keeping you up and running without interruption. Now in an upcoming video, we'll do a full test of the 767, but my first impressions are that it's incredibly solidly built, and that the design, the fit and finish, the materials, and the attention to detail are among the best I've seen from any manufacturer. Now I want to talk a little bit about why we chose the Anker. Now there's a lot of great options on the market, a lot of great power stations to choose from, but the Anker was the only one that we found as of now in December 2022 that checked every single box on our requirements list. And just because it checks all of our boxes doesn't mean it will check all of yours. At a high level, we were looking for a power station that was compact, portable, and capable of serving all of our power needs when we were camping off grid for several days, or for bugging out in event of an emergency. At the same time, it had to be expandable with extra battery capacity to serve as a reliable backup power source at home should the grid go down. So we made a checklist of specific requirements to meet those goals, and here it is. First, it has to be compact, all-in-one unit that will fit in the back of our vehicle and still leave us plenty of room for all of our gear and supplies. Number 2, it had to have a minimum 2 kilowatt hour battery. Now that's large enough to run our portable Dometic fridge, our lighting, and our comms for a few days at a time. Number 3, the battery storage had to be expandable, so when we're using it at home, it can run a handful of our critical loads like our refrigerator and our furnace blower, long enough to run overnights until the sun shines again and we can recharge our batteries. Number 4, we needed it to have at least 2 kilowatts of output power so that it can handle loads like a refrigerator. Number 5, we wanted a 30 amp RV outlet so that we could connect it to our breaker panel. Now we'll talk more about that in a future video, but this allows us to power all of our furnaces, appliances, and lighting without snaking extension cords all over our house. Number 6, it has to use LFP batteries, or lithium iron phosphate, for safe storage and long battery life. Number 7, it has to be fast charging. That was a must-have for us. In the event that we get snow coverage on our solar panels, or we just need a quick boost of extra power, we want to be able to connect our Honda 2 kilowatt gas generator to it and completely recharge the batteries in under 2 hours. Then we can shut off the generator and conserve precious fuel. Number 8, we needed UPS mode. This allows us to keep our security cameras, our alarm system, our computers, servers, and our internet up and running for several hours without any interruption. Number 9, we needed at least 800 watts of solar input so that we could fully recharge the batteries in a single day even when it's overcast. Number 10, remote connectivity through a smartphone app. This would allow us to keep our power station locked in a secure location while remotely monitoring its state of charge and being able to configure it and change settings. Number 11, we required at least a 2-year warranty from the manufacturer. We wanted to know that they believed in their product enough to stand behind it because we're going to count on this in a worst case scenario. And number 12, and lastly, we had a $2,000 budget. We didn't want to overspend on a power station because we're continuing to save for a robust whole house battery backup solution. So let's take a look at some of the popular products that could possibly meet our requirements. Now, the new king of the hill is the Bluetti AC500. Like the AC300 before it, it has incredible expansion capabilities and fantastic power output, but it is outside our budget at $4,800, and it has no internal battery. It requires a separate B300S battery attached with a bulky cable. Now, this not only makes it too expensive, but it's just not portable enough for our car camping or bug out scenarios. Like the AC500, the Ecoflow Delta Pro is highly expandable, but it's also outside our budget at $3,500, and it's just way too big to fit in the available space we have in our vehicle, so we had to eliminate it as well. The next option we considered was the Ecoflow Delta Max. Now, this is a solid unit and it's a great value at $1,500, but it does lack that 30 amp socket we need to connect to our breaker panel, and it uses NMC batteries. Now, NMCs have higher energy density, but the trade-off is battery longevity, and while extremely unlikely, there is an increased safety risk. The Bluetti AC200 Max has been our leading contender with up to 6 kilowatts of storage capacity, a 30 amp outlet for connecting to our breaker panel, and 900 watts of solar. Now, the reason we didn't choose it was its charging limitations. Instead of using an internal fast charger, it uses a traditional external charging brick, which is limited to 400 watts and takes 5 to 6 hours to recharge. Now, you can add an optional second 400 watt charging brick and increase that to 800 watts, but it still takes nearly 3 hours to charge. And pass-through charging is limited to that same 400 or 800 watts, and it has no UPS capabilities. The Zender Superbase Pro is a strong contender with the fastest charging, massive solar inputs, UPS mode, and a competitive price. But it isn't expandable, it has no 30 amp port, and it uses NMC batteries. An LFP battery version is available as an option, but at a reduced 1600 watts of capacity, and that really takes that out of contention. The Alcatel is an amazing value, and it nearly won our business. At $11.99 price point, it's hard to beat, and it does offer UPS capability, fast charging, and a lithium iron phosphate battery. But its limitations just didn't work for us because its solar input was capped at 500 watts. And it doesn't have any battery expansion. There's no 30 amp RV port, and it doesn't support apps for remote monitoring. That brings us to the Anker 767. While it is the heaviest in the group, it's still luggable and pretty compact, fitting nicely in the back of our SUV. Its battery capacity can be doubled to 4 kilowatt hours with one additional battery pack, and it's tied with the Delta Max for the most output capacity at 2400 watts. It also includes that 30 amp RV port for connecting to your critical loads panel, and it utilizes LFP batteries with 3000 charge cycles. It supports fast charging at up to 1440 watts, and its UPS mode also allows that full 1440 watts to throughput to your devices with 20 millisecond switching from grid to battery power. It can handle up to 1000 watts of solar, allowing for multiple charge cycles in a single day. And it does have app support for continuous monitoring and management. And all of that comes along with a 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, which is the strongest we've seen on any power station. The current $1,999 price point just squeaks in at the very top of our budget, but it does make the cut. The one surprising thing we found about the Anker was that it doesn't support simultaneous AC and solar charging. While this isn't a requirement for us, it may be for you, so we felt it was important to mention. Here's our chart showing our top picks and how they stack up. The red boxes show gaps in meeting our requirements. The green boxes are the winners for each category. You'll notice that every power station in this review was the best at something, and in fact the Zender was the best at several things. This just goes to show that there isn't one best power station, but there's likely one that's best for your needs. All that said, the Anker Powerhouse 767 was the only power station to check every box on our list, and we're excited to put it to the test. We'll be doing a full review of the 767 in an upcoming video with some real-world grid-down scenarios. If you'd like to be notified of future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. And leave us a comment letting us know what's on your must-have list for a power station. If you found this video helpful, consider using our links below to check prices and specs on all the power stations discussed in this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.